Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first formal edition of the Factly Digest. I'm Parvati Mohan, and I lead the audio visual production efforts here at Factly, which is all the videos and podcasts that we do. And why I say the first formal edition is because last week we had something of an introductory edition where our founder and CEO Rakesh Dubudu was with us in the studio as we joined you live, and we went through the teams at Factly, what it is that we do as an organization, and what each of these teams contributes to our immense output. And this the series itself is meant as a sort of highlight of what has happened in over the fortnight. So every when we meet every 2 weeks, we will talk about the most important stories or work that has happened over the last 2 weeks, and we'll speak to a few representatives from some of our core teams, and that's what the Faculty Digest is really all about. So, if you haven't watched the introductory live, we have the link to it. It's up on our channel, and also we will be linking it in the description. We will be linking all the stories that we talk about today will be in the description. So you can go back and check those out. Uh, so that is about that. And also we have introduced memberships in for those of you who are just joining us, and it's called Team Factly because we want you to be a part of this whole process of making public data meaningful, which is what we are all about, and which is an idea, which is a concept that we will be exploring what we mean by that with the representatives of our teams um, as we do these live editions. So, and we are very happy to announce that we've started getting our first few members, and we really look forward to more. So if there's ever a question in your mind about how to just show your support for the work we do, then this is a great way to do it. It's You also have access to some custom emojis that reflect the work that we do, and also your comments, your suggestions, all of that will get priority in terms of our responding to them. So uh, and speaking of comments and questions, please leave your questions for us in the live chat, and we will be very happy to get back to you, if possible on this live itself. And if not, we will eventually get back to you somehow, or after the live has ended, leave them as comments, and we'll have access to those, and we will get back to you in the best way that we can. All right. Speaking of comments from viewers, we just wanted to do a quick run through of a few of the most relevant, heartening comments that we have received over the past 2 weeks since the introductory live. And this is spanning the different kinds of content that we do here on our YouTube channel. And one of the biggest things, of course, is our fact check videos. So we had this video where two British boys are singing, and the claim was that they're singing the theme song of the Ramayana TV serial from the late 1980s. So we have Usha Venkatakrishnan, who said, "Thank you for the fact checking. I saw this video many years back and found it just too much to believe, but had no way of reaching the truth. Now I know my doubt was right." So it's comments like these that really keep us going. We really take a lot of pride in what we do. So thank you, Usha, for your comment. And another content bucket that we have is this thing called the Be Safe series, which is about different kinds of financial fraud. And the comment here is actually saying that this happened to them. So that this all of this is very real. All these kind of frauds and scams and whatever it is that we are talking about in our videos, these are very real, and they sometimes also make it look very believable, which is why a lot of people might assume that it is true, and therefore so I think like comments like these are also very important to let other people know that it's not just us sitting in a void and making these videos, but these things are actually happening out there. And thank you to Parthiban Ji, who said, "What a perfect presentation and explanation with right examples," on a video from our very first season of our flagship program called Decode, where we break down policy issues you know related to India. And of course, the viral the ever viral things about, oh, you wear this ring and you lose weight magically in no amount of time. So we have Yenny Morgan who says thank you because I was about to lose my money. So real time impact right there. Thank you for your comment, Yenny. Means the world to us. And another comment that says they have a friend who believes everything that he sees without question or hesitation. So thank you for putting this out there, which is a reminder to you. Please share our work widely. It can be of help to a lot of people. And of course, the very short series, the this it's YouTube Shorts. It's called Shortly, where um, where a channel called Craft Mob has said, fabulous video. This is exactly what I wanted. We are very happy to be providing this content to you. And all the best with your efforts, Craft Mob. So that's that with the comments section. So now we will move on to the highlight part of the Factly Digest, which is what we are mainly here for. And in this edition, we are going to be focusing on our content teams, on the teams that produce content on Factly's various platforms like YouTube or our website. And what are the non-content teams? Go back to our introductory live, watch it, and you will know. But the first team in focus is the fact check team, and I have here with me Bharat G, who leads the fact check efforts here at Factly. So for those who may not have watched the introductory live, um, just a quick snapshot, Bharat, of what your team does and what is the work that you do really.
Yeah, thanks, Parvati. Hello, everyone. So the fact check team at Factly mainly, debunks viral claims, that are they're prevalent on social media, all social media platforms, not just one. So the team on a day-to-day basis has to scrutinize hundreds of posts over across social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. And we keep on scrutinizing, and when you work for a certain time, you get an instinct this could be false. So the team lists down all the potential false claims, and they do research, right? Find evidence and eventually publish articles. So each team member has to go through this entire process, and we have discussions and debates on what claim is debunkable and what is not. And we also have an active WhatsApp tip line where users, constantly keep sending messages all through the day, requesting some information or to debunk a viral claim. Again, the team researches and responds to each and every query that we get. So this is a brief overview of what the team does on a day-to-day basis.
Right. Now, a large part of our YouTube efforts, of course,
Yeah.
ties into the efforts of the fact check team. And uh, at any given point of time, you open the top 10 best performing videos on our channel, and at least six of them, I think, are fact check videos. We also continuously see a lot of engagement on these, which is what I was getting to. Um, which is, what is the kind of, we just spoke about comments, we just did a whole roundup of this week's comments. So what is the kind of feedback that you see related to the work that the fact check team does that makes you feel that, okay, yes, there is a real time impact of what we are doing here?
Yeah. So in terms of the impact, that we see, as you rightly pointed out, most of the impact that we see comes through the comments that we see on our YouTube
Right.
videos. In the same comment articles from spam. We also have a part of tracking, for Facebook. So whenever people labels us, people keep tagging us. So we do see impact when people tag us on Twitter, share our
Hmm.
articles. The same thing
Hmm.
happens with Facebook as well. But YouTube, I see a lot of engagement, especially because you convert a lot of our articles into videos. We do receive a lot of comments across viral claims, controversial things. But the constant thing, the kind of post that I see constant engagement is something that you just mentioned in your comments, something that has to do with government schemes or
Hmm.
financial scams.
Right.
So if I just pick some examples, something that we have done a few years back as well. There is this Mudra Loan Yojana.
Right.
So there are letters people have received claiming that the government is providing loans,
Hmm.
and they just need to pay some sanction amount, or the processing fee for them to get loan. Unfortunately, there are comments people said that they have already paid the money and haven't received loan. And there are a lot of other people who commented that watching the fact check video, they haven't gone ahead with it.
Hmm.
Similarly, the Scooty Yojana, it's a funny incident, the non-existing scheme. I know a friend of mine, whose sister has paid 2,000 rupees to a broker to apply.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, there is no scheme, but there is a real-time fraud that's happening on ground. So there are a couple of other things during the lockdown as well. Like government is providing 5,000 assistance for each citizen during lockdown,
Hmm.
and there's an unemployment scheme by
Yeah.
Pradhan
Yeah.
Mantri Berojgari Yojana.
Yeah.
There's a lot of these financial or I would say scheme related frauds that are very prevalent, especially to garner a lot of views, to do
Yeah.
the public who are looking for jobs. People do keep making these videos. My request for all the viewers would be, not enter your any personal information on any of those links, to apply for for these schemes. In case you have any doubt, you can always reach out to Factly and find the veracity of those claims. And if I pick up a recent example, especially on people, especially targeted unemployed people or work from home opportunities, there are a
Hmm.
lot of such scams.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one example that I could see a lot of comments in the engagement is
Hmm.
pen and pencil packing jobs. So it went viral with Natraj as a
Yeah.
company in the beginning, but I see a lot of posts being shared. In fact, I see sponsored content,
Oh.
on social media platforms. People are promoting this content, so they have a video where people keep packing pencils and pens in boxes, and they say it's very easy. You can just earn 10 to 30,000 rupees by packing the number of these pencils. So unfortunately, it's fun, and we have a lot of comments. People said, especially you have helped my maid from being duped. So
Hmm.
someone has watched our video and informed her maid, no, there is no
Yeah.
such job.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we weren't able to help everyone because people have already paid money
Yeah.
and came back to the videos. We also have those examples.
Yeah.
So overall, these financial frauds or anything related to government schemes or jobs receive a lot of engagement thanks
Yeah.
to your efforts in terms of converting the hard work that the team puts into videos.
Right. And I think just a quick note to this is if there's ever a doubt in terms of, whether something is genuine or not, and, you're in a time crunch and you really need to do it, I think our articles and our videos also have tips on how to identify
Yeah.
if something could be fraud or if it's genuine. So do go through all of that. And I think that they're very quick reads also. You don't have to invest that much time in it. Right. So let's move now to the fortnightly highlight that we are here to discuss. What are some of the interesting stories that you've done over these past 2 weeks?
So as seasons change, seasons keep repeating in any year. So similarly, fake news also has a seasonal cycle sometimes. Especially summer. Summer as a season, has brought back two viral claims that I remember. So one thing that went viral, or we received a lot of requests on our WhatsApp reply is, do not drink cold water immediately
Mm.
after coming from a sunny day, or do not take bath in a cold water. And it says that if you do that, you have chance of getting a stroke, your blood
Yeah.
vessels, so these kind of viral claims, is viral. Again, there's no scientific evidence as such.
Mm.
It is suggested by experts not to drink immediately, but again, that will not lead you to having any heart stroke or anything. Again, summer is a season where people do have keep ordering a lot of ice creams. So another claim that I remember that went very viral actually. I think each of the viewer might have come across these claims. Amul is an ice cream which is made of milk, and the other brand is frozen dessert, and there is no milk
Milk.
product,
Yeah.
milk as an ingredient,
Yeah.
which is false again. It's the naming is purely based on the government guidelines. Amul, the fat that Amul use comes from the dairy, so it can label it as ice cream. But for the frozen dessert, milk is an essential ingredient. It's just that the fat they use is vegetable oil. So they name it as frozen dessert. But it went very viral saying that, none of the frozen desserts have milk
Yeah.
as an ingredient. Okay, so again, it's a seasonal thing. I'm sure these kind of claims keep coming back again in the next summer.
Yeah.
And again, this is election season in Karnataka. Every time there is an election, we keep seeing a lot of old videos, old
Yeah.
debunked claims, that keep resurfacing. And importantly, opinion polls, non-existent opinion polls, or morphed. For example, I remember we were debunking an ABP opinion poll in Karnataka, giving majority to a certain political party, which they have never published. And a lot of videos. For example, even from Telangana state, when by-elections happened here, a
Mm.
couple of years back, those videos related to those by-elections and something from West Bengal went viral again recently, stating that they are from Karnataka. Elections, I'm sure these videos will not stop circulating this season. Again, whenever, in fact, Telangana is due for elections towards the
Right.
end of this year, and I'm sure a lot of old videos keep getting
Absolutely.
resurfaced. So this, in the past voted, I would say these two trends,
Mm.
summer and election season. So I would request everyone to be on the lookout for watching. And in terms of predictions, I'm sure once the elections get done by 13th of May, we may end up seeing again old EVM claims,
Yeah.
EVM hacks,
Yeah.
EVMs are not being secured properly. Again, this is another trend that I
Right.
anticipate to happen in the next
Exit
few
polls.
years. Yeah,
Yeah.
exit polls.
Right. So, just to go back to something you were saying earlier, which is where you asked our viewers to come back to us and ask us if they were unsure of whether a claim is real or not, and you did mention the WhatsApp tip line. So I think if you could quickly tell our viewers a little more in detail about what this tip line is and they will get their facts there.
Yeah, interesting that you asked this question because just few days back I received a WhatsApp message from a friend. Your tip line is amazing. Okay.
It is.
And the reason being, he has been using the tip line, but this is the first time I think he experienced that the moment he sent a claim, it matched the existing fact check content, and he got a response within seconds. So this is how our pipeline works. Especially, I'm just talking about seasonal claims. People claims that keep resurfacing again and again. And if you send those claims to our WhatsApp pipeline, if that claim has already been debunked, it works. It's a bot actually. So it checks all debunked claims in our database and gives you the response immediately. So anything that has already been debunked, you get an immediate response within a second. If it is not, please do not worry. We will respond you to within 24 hours. And so if someone again shares the same claim, it will automatically match and shares the response within seconds. So it's very simple. You just need to save our WhatsApp tip line number 92470 52470 and just send a hi, explore the button option. It's very user friendly, and you should be able to share claims, read our newsletters, recent posts, and everything related to false news.
Right. Okay, so that was the roundup from the fact check team. Thank you so much, Bharat, for joining us here on
Yeah,
the Factly Digest.
thanks, Paul.
And with that, we move to the second team that we are going to be talking about. That is going to be Infosys. But before we get into that, very quickly, I just want to remind our viewers that our memberships are live. So do explore the option, consider joining. We will be rolling out more emojis once we get a few more members. So that's something to look forward to. And of course, priority in terms of getting responses to your questions. And also, please ask questions right now in the live chat, and we will answer them to the best of our abilities right now. And if not, we will get back to you eventually. That is something that we assure you of. All right. So, with that said, we are ready to now talk about the newsroom. Hi, Bharat.
Hi,
This is
Parvati.
so Bharat's namesake here, Bharat K, has joined us. He is the lead of the newsroom. So, yeah, like I asked Bharat Ji, um, tell us for those who may have missed the introductory live or who are wondering, we say that we're not a mainstream media outlet, we still have a newsroom. What is that all about?
Yeah. So yeah, Parvati, what the newsroom is basically responsible for developing content which goes onto the fact report. And the content that we develop, it's more of a research content, like deep research content that we do, and we try to put out these long form stories, most in the form of data stories or explainers or reviews and all those things. So these are the different types of stories that we publish. And when I talk about reviews, apart from we also have this periodical reviews. Every weekly we have an quote judgment review
Right.
that we do it. And then on a fortnightly basis, we also have this review of all the government data which the government has published during that fortnight and all. So apart from these long form articles, another engagement that we see, like especially the social, to engage the social media on it, we try to even convert this content into more engaging form, like the data visualizations, reels, and videos. So this basically is what a newsroom tries to develop the content. I mean,
Right.
this is what we work.
Right. So with the newsroom, I get that it's different from fact check and our YouTube efforts and all of that. It's more long form. It's more in depth, but also it's not as lickety split as in
Right.
terms of impact and
Yeah.
effects. But having said that, what is the kind of impact that you have seen with your work? What is something that our viewers can maybe see as a takeaway of the the work that your team does?
Yeah, that's right. So, like as you rightly pointed out, like unlike an YouTube video or an Instagram reel, like newsroom has this challenge or an handicap of not being able to see an immediate impact. We don't get our immediate response. Get it. But like if I had to do as a measurable, like if I had to look at, like I can might be we can look at few of these cases wherein our articles which we have been published have been quoted by different news portals
Mm.
or have been quoted by industry experts and all.
Right.
So that sort of gives us a validation for it. Like for example, if I could remember it, there was this one article that we wrote on NRM marriages, like different trends in NRM marriages, which was picked up by the Guardian in
Oh,
when they were publishing a related story.
yeah.
They picked up the data from us. And another story I could think of is like related. I mean, there are a series of stories that we wrote on electoral bonds, like, which is a hot topic, and we have been writing it
Yes.
since the last few years. So this one of these these articles have been picked up by multiple news sites,
Right.
which have directly published our article on their portals. And apart from that, another significant aspect is that one of these electoral bond story was picked up by media in the
Mm.
FDBIT when they were filing their FDBIT in the Supreme Court. So one of our stories was part of it. So like that, there are other cases wherein like industry experts have quoted our stories relating to like it could be tiger population or there are stories which
Right.
we wrote on pop. So and all those things they have been picked up by industry experts quoting them in their either in their updates or in their news feed or in their articles and all. So when we look at these things, so that is where we have a validation for the work that we do.
Right. Okay. Now, um, what we are here to talk about, of course, is the fortnightly highlight. And so, what is a story or a few stories that you have done over the past
Mhm.
two weeks that you think our viewers should pay some attention to?
So the one story, like I mean, over the last 2 weeks that we did, which I feel like many people were able to connect, was regarding the student suicides.
Yes.
So in the last, recent in the last fortnight or 1 month or so, like there have been multiple reports on student suicides which have been reported across different news outlets.
Hmm.
So that is where we thought, okay, I mean, why don't we explore this story? Was something that we thought about it, and we were able to also find an answer in Lok Sabha, wherein the government responded to a question wherein they provided details on the number of suicides in the recent years in few of the premier institutes like IIM, IITs, central universities, and all. As I said, the Lok Sabha answer was only limited to this educational
Right.
institutes. So what we thought is like, okay, let us explore further. Let's see if we could find some more data. And that is where we have this NCRB's one report they publish annually, that is accidental deaths and suicides in India report. We thought let's look at the data in it because it has all the data
Yeah.
relating to the overall suicides. And that is where we were able to extract, I mean, analyze some data on those
Yeah.
different, the
Yeah.
overall suicide trends.
So this is obviously a very prevalent issue, and it is something that affects a lot of Indian families. So, what are the by and large the sort of trends that stood out when you analyze this data?
Yeah. So the like the first trend like why might be is around like there are declines in the number of suicides. Like if I compare the data between 2017 to 2021, there has been a 30% increase in the total number of suicides that have been committed during this period. And then apart from that, like most of the student, especially if I'm talking about student suicides, that has been mostly it has been in states of Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, and Telangana have reported more number of suicides. And one more data trends that we could pick up is around like most of these suicides, like COVID. I mean, it has been reported by many studies as well. COVID-19 did have an impact on student suicide, especially with regarding the tensions which are relating to online study
Right.
regarding this financial challenges that they faced during COVID. That has sort of directly contributed to an increased number of suicides.
Right.
And if I had to look at the total number of suicides and the reasons for it, nearly one third of these suicides which are committed by students are caused because of family related issues. So these are by and large few of the trends that we could notice as far as students suicides are concerned.
Yeah, I would highly recommend that you go through the story and read this. It's purely data. We're not looking at any sort of bipartisan or any
Yeah, in
partisan this
interpretation.
thing,
Yeah,
or any that kind of any sensational take on it. That said, uh, something that has been in the news a
mm,
lot vis-a-vis
yeah,
data, public data, is the whole India taking over China
yeah,
vis-a-vis, in terms of
right.
population.
Population. Yeah,
We're soon going to be the most populated nation in the world
that's
if
right.
we aren't already. So that is, I'm sure that's a gold mine for the newsroom in
Yeah,
terms of data. So you have done a story about that
yeah.
recently. So take our viewers through that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, we did a story on it, and as it rightly pointed out by you, like it has been mostly in the news. Like
Yeah,
nearly every news outlet
yeah.
was highlighting this one aspect that India has overtaken China, India has overtaken China, and those things. So that is where we felt that okay, like is there and like can we look at more trends relating to it,
Yeah.
except for that one headline of India overtaking China. And that headline is basically because of an report published by UNO, like the
Mm.
United Nations Population Report. That is where their projection
Yes.
says that India has overtaken China. So what we thought is like, is there an alternative data source
Mm.
for it? And that is where we came to a report published by the technical committee of Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. So they also have their own projection for it.
Right.
So when we and then we started comparing both the data, like the
Mm.
data of UNO and versus the data of this Ministry of Health,
Right.
and there were certain numbers that we were able to find out. Like the first thing was around the data of UNO was it overshot by 40 million. The number quoted by UNO
Right.
was more than 40 million of what the Indian sources says. So that has been one. I mean, that was a major significant this thing. But like although we are talking about this thing, there's an increase in the like India taking the number one spot. Trends indicate in the last 4 or 5 years. In fact, the growth rate of India has been lower and much lower than the global growth. So these are some things which might not be highlighted by the other news media.
Unfortunately, we are very soon running out of time. So I think quickly, please go read the story. You will find a lot of
Yeah,
interesting insights there. It's all on factly.in, and the links are coming up as well. Quickly then about the social media efforts, because
mm,
the challenge with a lot of the stories is it's great content, but
yeah,
we are dealing with reducing attention spans,
right,
and people
yeah,
also don't have a lot of time. So I think the newsroom is making a lot of interesting efforts on the social media space. So if you could very quickly take our viewers through that.
yeah. Okay. Like so, yeah, there are a couple of things that we have been trying to do. One thing was in data visualization part of it. That is what the data byte series that you can find on Instagram. And apart from that, every weekly, like we are coming up with data reels, which condenses the story into some 3 or 4 important points in a
Right.
reel format. So these two are the things that you can actually explore. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So please do that. We are Factly India on all social media platforms. So find us there, follow us, engage with us. Um, and yes, as I said at the beginning, we are taking questions, and I have a question here from. I don't think that's their name, so I'm not going to say that. But it says, "Why not let the people decide for themselves what they want to believe?" I think we aren't keeping any tabs on what we we don't want anything in particular. It's not about what people want to believe or not, and people will do that anyway. It's just that these facts are very much in the public domain, whether it's what the fact check team does or what newsroom does, and what ultimately comes on our YouTube channel. We are just putting the facts and data that are very publicly available
Right.
out there in a more usable, user friendly format. So that is what we are here for. And yeah, absolutely, people will still believe what they want to believe. So we are no one to keep a cap on that. I think that's all we have in terms of questions. And so yes, like I said, the links to the stories are in the description. Thank you so much, Bharat, for
Thanks,
taking our
Parvati.
viewers
Thank you.
through what the newsroom does. The next edition of the Factory Digest will be on. It's 2 weeks from today, so that's 11th May around the same time, 6 p.m. IST. In the meantime, join our memberships. Get back to us with questions through comments on our videos, and follow us on social media. Go visit our website, factory.in, read our articles, and of course, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Keep engaging with our content. Thank you so much for joining us on the first formal edition of the Faculty Digest, and we hope to see you the next time. Thank you so much for watching.